Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today you're gonna cook with me. We're gonna make a tofu red curry, and we're gonna talk about my journey trying to conceive from June up to currently where we're at. Stay tuned. Alright, so before we get into the conversation, I'm just gonna throw a couple things in my wok to start our curry. Don't mind my messy counter over here. This stack of books is actually acting as my tofu press. I've been pressing my tofu for about 2 hours, and I'm gonna keep it there until it's time to add it. But before we do anything, I have 1 leek chopped, and then I'm gonna shave some fresh garlic cloves. And we're gonna put this with some ginger in my wok on low to get sweaty and build some flavor, and then we'll get talking about my trying to conceive journey while I cut up some other veggies. Okay, so y'all already know, but I have 2 favorite garlic devices. This one I can link down below from Amazon. You just put the cloves in here unpeeled, roll it around, and it peels them. And then this is my Pampered Chef garlic shaver. You can't get it on Amazon, but I do have a link to a woman who sells them if you're into these. It's the only way I clean and cook up my garlic. Okay, so we have 1 whole leek, about 4 cloves of garlic shaved, about a tablespoon of ginger, a drizzle of olive oil, and we're just gonna let this cook low for about 10 minutes to sweat out some flavors while I chop up the rest of our veggies. All right, so for the rest of our veg, it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm just cutting up a red and a green bell pepper, some baby bella mushrooms, and then I'm gonna use some of these green onions too, even though we use leeks. And then, it's not traditional in a curry, but my husband really loves the texture, so we're gonna put some water chestnuts in there too. So, trying to conceive. Let's talk. And I apologize, you won't really be able to see me chopping the vegetables because I just don't have a good enough setup right now to let you see all of that and talk and have good lighting. But I'll show you what they look like chopped. Oh, I need my garbage bowl. If this is your first time watching me cook, I always have a garbage bowl. This is what I throw all of my parts of the veggies I don't use, and then I can use it for compost, or I freeze it and use it for vegetable stock later on. Plus, it just makes cleanup after so much easier. I'll put that here. So, if you've been watching my channel since the beginning, you know I got married in, what am I doing with this knife? Y'all, I'm so nervous talking about this. I'm using the wrong knife. One moment. Okay, my brain is back. I'm back. I got married in April. It's my second marriage. My first marriage was a long time ago. I got married at 22, and I was married to a very abusive and drug-addicted man. I ended up pregnant in that marriage, which is the best thing that ever happened to me, because as soon as I had my son, Cody, to worry about his well-being too, I started caring more about getting out of that marriage. I tell Cody all the time that he was my hero because I was firmly convinced. And my first marriage was my high school sweetheart, so I had been with him since my freshman year in high school. And I was just convinced that I had made these vows to this man, and you know, I convinced myself that everything he did was because of the addictions and whatever else, and that was part of it, but the reality is he's just not a good person. He's still not a good person. He was very manipulative. I swear he should be a salesperson because he can convince anyone of anything. And so when I got pregnant with Cody, when I was about very early on, 2 months pregnant. I don't think I'd even been to my first doctor appointment yet. My then husband pushed me down a flight of stairs in an attempt to harm the pregnancy. And a little backstory, we had gotten pregnant on purpose. We had been through what's called the honeymoon phase, which if you don't know anything about domestic violence, and that's not what this video is about, but this is an important part of my journey now and how I'm feeling now. I'm already getting emotional, you guys. If you don't know anything about domestic violence, there are phases. So there's something called the honeymoon phase when the abuser, man or woman, is very apologetic and they treat you better than they ever have, and you think, oh my gosh, they've actually changed for me. And I was very naive, but also very broken down. Abusers are very good at breaking down the people they're gonna abuse, and it makes it very hard to leave. A lot of people have stigmas about women or men who stay in abusive relationships, but if they would just read the statistics and how many people leave and then end up harmed, even worse, or why people stay, I feel like there's such a stigma and people should just get educated. And maybe I'll do a video on that one time, but right now we're talking about my journey. So we had intentionally gotten pregnant with Cody, and then like 2 weeks later, he started staying out all night and being unfaithful again and being abusive again and whatnot. So when I was 2 months pregnant with my son, I left my husband, and then I actually ended up moving to Florida to keep myself and my son safe. So, but I got pregnant very easily with Cody. Like literally we tried 1 month and we were pregnant. So coming into my marriage now, I really thought it would be really easy to get pregnant because it's been easy before. All the women in my family get pregnant easily. I just had no idea that I would be here in December not talking to you about my pregnancy. I had no idea how hard it is. And I know people say, oh, here I go already. I know people say it's hard, but I always have been like, well, that's not my family. Like, my family gets pregnant so easily. We're so blessed. And that's not been my journey. Okay, so I cut up 2 bell peppers. I'm gonna cut the white parts of these onions and add them in here, and then I'm gonna save the tops for garnish. Okay, so my husband and I got married in April. We started actively trying to get pregnant in June. I actually thought for sure I would end up pregnant on my honeymoon. I really thought I would be that person. We didn't go on our honeymoon till June, by the way. I just thought I'd be the person with the honeymoon baby. And I can remember coming home from that and finding out a couple days later it was an unsuccessful cycle, and I was wrecked, you guys. I felt like I did something wrong, like I failed myself, or I failed my husband, or I failed my son, who really, really wants a sibling. When Cody was little, before, this is hard. Before I met my husband, and when it was just him and I, because it was just him and I for a long time, he would always ask me for a brother or sister. Mom, all my friends have brothers and sisters. I just want a brother or sister. I always be like, Bubby, Mama needs to find us a good man in our lives first. So as soon as Jeff and I got married, Cody's like, so now can I have a brother or sister? At 10, he still doesn't know how this all works, and he doesn't know it's not the easiest thing in the world. So I'm gonna clean these mushrooms and chop them up, and then we're gonna add this to our pot. So I was wrecked, but we just kept trying. I was tracking everything. If you watch some of my earlier videos, you'll see like I was taking ovulation tests, and I still take prenatals, and I actually just ordered something called Vitex. I've been eating very, very healthy, because that's the other thing. When I got pregnant with Cody, I was 22. I ran a karaoke show. So I was in a bar 5 nights a week, people buying me drinks. At the time, I was super unhealthy with my eating habits. I smoked cigarettes, like all the things they tell you harm your fertility, I did back then. Now I like eat tons of vegetables and fruits. I don't smoke. I hardly drink. Like, I'm doing everything right. I'm exercising. I'm just doing everything you're supposed to do. Drinking tons of water, so I have big fluffy eggs. Eating pineapple, so I have a sticky uterus. Sorry if any men are watching this, but there's all this stuff we do as women when we're trying to have a baby. So I just thought I'm doing everything right. I'm tracking, I'm doing this, and it's gonna happen, and it hasn't. And every month, when I find out it's an unsuccessful cycle, it's been so hard. And it's hard because everybody knows we're trying. My mother-in-law particularly is like praying for me to get pregnant with twins, which, you know, God hears her. So if I end up pregnant with twins, you can blame her. And they love my son, and they treat Cody just like he's theirs. But this would be their first grandbaby, you know. And my husband's brother isn't married, so right now it's all riding on us to have the grandkids, you know? And she just loves being a grandma so much right now. She's excited for more. But there's a lot of pressure with that, you know? There's a lot of like, if I don't end up pregnant, my mother-in-law is disappointed. If I don't end up pregnant, I'm disappointed. If I don't end up pregnant, I'm doing this YouTube channel about trying to conceive as a vegan, and you're all disappointed because I never get pregnant. And then there's the pressure of being a vegan and trying to conceive, because so many people say like, oh, it's so easy to get pregnant when you're vegan because you're so healthy. And you're not always super healthy as a vegan, can I just point that out? But I do eat a very much plant-based diet. So I just assumed from everything I've watched and everything that I've researched that it would be easy, and it hasn't been. And you know, every month that I don't have a successful cycle, I feel this pressure. I'm in my 30s. I'm not getting any younger. My husband's not getting any younger. My son is 10. Like, how much of an age gap is it gonna be? And I feel like every month I get older, it gets harder, right? I feel like they tell you all these things, like the older you get, the harder it is. Like, am I gonna have what's considered a geriatric pregnancy, which I think is like after 35, because that's really high risk. And I don't know. So this has been my journey. Last month, I decided, no, 2 months ago, I decided I was gonna stop tracking so neurotically because it was putting me into almost a depression every month for a little bit. And then when I would get really sad, my husband would get sad because I was sad. Let's pause and dump these veggies into the pot. I'm also gonna dump these water chestnuts that I'm gonna strain into the pot too, and then we'll come back. Alright, so our veggies are cooking. I added a little soy sauce to the veggies, salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and then I also started some jasmine rice on the stove behind me to serve our curry over. So let's wrap up this story so we can eat. In the meantime, I'm going to cut up these peppers because my husband and I like our curry spicier and my son doesn't. The spiciest peppers I could find today are jalapenos, so I'm a little disappointed, but I'll probably add some cayenne pepper too. But I'm going to slice some of these up to go into a separate little paste I'm going to make on the side for my husband and I to add into our curry. So anyways, I've stopped tracking everything because it was honestly just getting so painful every month. I just feel like I'm disappointing everyone. And so I've had some people suggest, like, when I take my pregnancy tests, and I've taken a couple. There was actually a month that I was 3 days late. So I took a pregnancy test and Aunt Flo showed up as I was taking the test, and I was devastated. because I thought for sure I was pregnant. And the other thing is when I was tracking, I analyzed every single symptom. And if you haven't been pregnant before, like pre-pregnancy symptoms are pretty much the same as PMS symptoms. But I'd be like, oh, is this happening earlier than usual? Like, am I doing this more than usual, you know? And so I just got to where I was obsessing over it and like having a hard time focusing on anything else. So I've stopped tracking. I've not gone to the doctor yet. I've heard that you really shouldn't be concerned until you're a year or so in. So I'm just kind of letting things take their course. I am still taking a prenatal vitamin, and I'm also going to start on that Vitex. I was taking maca powder, but I mostly was using it in my smoothies. And it's cold in Wisconsin right now, so I don't do smoothies right now. So I guess I wanted to make this video because I know there are women out there that are trying so hard to get pregnant, and I don't want you to feel like you're alone feeling bad, you know. I think it's a natural part of the process. I've been invited to 2 baby showers recently, actually within the past month, and it's not that I'm not happy for my, now first of all, these are acquaintances and not super close friends. But regardless, I would go no matter what. Like, I love people, I love celebrating, but it is so hard. It's so hard to go and celebrate these other pregnant women who seem to have gotten pregnant like by accident when I'm trying so hard, and I emotionally just couldn't go. And it's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to feel angry and to feel sad and to feel confused and all of those feelings. And I think it's normal, but I also think you need to talk about them. So I mean, I talk to my husband about it, but not as much because I don't want him to, feel like he's somehow disappointing me or like I'm unhappy because we're not pregnant yet. And I also don't want him to take all this burden on his shoulders, because as a wife and a mother, when my husband or my son, I'm trying not to touch my face, are feeling sad, that becomes my first priority to take care of. And I know I need to prioritize like my own mental state right now. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're in the same situation I'm in, where you're trying to conceive and it's been several months and you haven't been successful and you're feeling bad, it's okay. I'm also trying to say, like, don't feel like you can't say that you're not okay because you know other people take longer, because it's okay to not feel okay. Find people to talk to. Like, find someone who will really listen, who understands. I recommend it being a woman who's had a baby, because I feel like women understand just more than anyone. But just find someone you can talk to. I'm gonna start this paste and then we'll finish up our chit chat. So I also just added 2 cans of coconut milk and a whole bunch of Thai red curry paste into our pan. I never use a recipe for my curries, so it's hard to show you. So I'm gonna saute down these jalapenos in some olive oil with a little salt and pepper and a little curry paste, and then I'm also gonna cube up the tofu and add it to our wok. Okay, so I've had our tofu pressing under heavy books for about 3 hours now. I'm just gonna cube it and add it in. Tofu, like any type of protein, will absorb the flavor of what you put it in. Now, if I was baking this tofu, I would definitely either marinate it or season it, but because it's going into a very flavorful curry broth, I'm just gonna cube it and plop it right in there. to take some of the coconut milk out of my wok and just add it to the skillet, the jalapenos, just so it's easier to incorporate into our bowls when we're ready, and so the jalapenos cook down a little bit more. So anyways, thank you so much for letting me update you on my trying to conceive journey. I'll think about doing live pregnancy tests. I'm hoping that the next one I take will be a positive and this won't even be a conversation anymore, and we can talk about my pregnancy journey. If you believe in good vibes or prayers or whatever, baby dust, send it my way if you would. I didn't really plan on getting into as much of the kind of backstory of my marriage and domestic violence, but if you guys want to see a video like a cook with me talking about the statistics of domestic violence, how to help someone in need, how to help yourself, and just all of that information, let me know. I would love to do a video on that for you. I've talked to high school kids about it before. It's a subject I am very comfortable speaking about, oddly enough. Not comfy talking about trying to conceive, but I'll talk about that. I'm gonna finish getting this plated up and show you guys how we finish it up. Okay, so here you have it. My scratch, kind of Thai red coconut curry, as good as I can do. I'm gonna garnish it with a little bit of green onions, some cilantro, a few chopped cashews, and a squeeze of lime. And there you have it. If you've made it this far in my video, sincerely from the bottom of my heart, thank you for letting me talk about such a delicate subject matter with all of you. Thank you for hearing me. If you're new to my channel and you made it this far, I promise not every single episode, who do I think I am, like Fuller House? Every single video is quite as deep and intense as this is, but y'all, I feel so much better getting it off my chest, so thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna go eat this curry because it looks amazing and it smells even better. If you're new here, I would love if you would join our dairy-free fam and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss a thing. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Make sure to let me know if you want me to do a cook with me and chit chat about domestic violence. I know it's a deep subject, I know it's taboo, but I would be honored to educate you on it if you want to hear about it. Also leave me a comment down below if you like your curry spicy or mild. I kind of want to know. Until next time, y'all, thank you again for watching. I love you and I appreciate you, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye.